Hello, my name is David Rooks, and this is my methodological paradigm presentation. Enjoy! This presentation is divided into 4 different sections or dimensions. The first dimension is focused on the ontological perspective I most identify with, its characteristics, and the key theorists who have played a role in shaping the ontology. The second dimension is focused on the epistemology that fits well with my ontology, its characteristics, and the key theorists who have played a role in shaping it. The third dimension is focused on research design, my approach to it, how my ontology and epistemology inform my decision-making in the methodology of the research, and the methods I will employ that fit well with my paradigm. The fourth and final dimension is focused on how my perspectives and paradigm may impact me as a scholar in training and doctoral student. Ontology is made up of the Greek words ontos, meaning being, and logos, meaning study. So literally, it is the study of being. What exists in the human world that researchers can acquire knowledge about. It provides a reasoned, deductive account of the fundamental sorts of things that exist. It is the major factor in how research is approached. One's ontology answers the question, what is there that can be known? Or what is the nature of reality? Ontology helps researchers recognize how certain they can be about the nature and existence of objects they are researching. The ontology that I identify the most with is realism. In general, realism advocates that objects and social structures exist independent of human experience and constructs. It is the belief of a real world, or reality, despite the many constructs and or perspectives of individuals or groups, hence the name realism. Some of the key characteristics of realism are the world is observable and reality can be discovered through our senses. Realist ontology relates to the existence of one single reality which can be studied, understood, and experienced as a truth. A real world exists independent of human experience. Every new observation can bring us closer to understanding reality. There are many forms of realism that have evolved over the years. The father of realism is the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who famously wrote that objective reality can be understood through the diligent and unsparing scrutiny of all observable data. Another famous classical defender of realism was Galileo. His defense got him into a great deal of trouble with the Catholic Church. Other theorists who have played roles in different realist ontologies are Erving Goffman and Herbert Blumer for naive realism, Florian Zdenicki, Herbert Blumer, Bronislaw Malinowski, and Alfred Reginald Radcliffe Brown for scientific realism, Martin Hammersley for subtle realism, David Altheide and John Johnson for analytic realism, and Roy Basker for critical realism. Epistemology comes from the Greek words episteme, which is knowledge, and logos, which stands for explanation. It is the theory of knowledge and perception in science. One's epistemology is a way of understanding and explaining how we know what we know. It is how knowledge is created. Epistemology is important because it influences how researchers frame their research in their attempts to discover knowledge. Basic questions are answered through one's epistemology. What is knowing? What is known? What is knowledge? The epistemological perspective that I most identify with is post-positivism. This particular epistemology accepts the position of an independent reality, but doubts reality can be known in a direct way, and that people do use language and traditions to reference this ultimate reality, albeit differently from one another. Humans and our experiences, values, and perceptions get in the way of truth, and only a general understanding of such truth can be attained. The post-positive approach is to predict, control, and generalize. A post-positive position for me makes sense because there is the connection between my realist ontology, that there is an ultimate truth. However, I can understand how people's perception can be their reality, and I must critically examine their views to facilitate understanding. The more data that is collected, the closer I may get to understanding this reality of a group or individual. Despite our best efforts, ultimate reality can never be fully explained, and objective truth is generally accepted by post-positivists, but human conjectures have informed our knowledge. Max Weber, Alfred Schutz, Thomas Luckman, Peter Berger, Thomas Kuhn, Karl Popper, and Robert Dubin are all theorists who have played a role in post-positive ideology and understanding. Research design refers to the overall strategy that one chooses to integrate the different components of the study in a coherent and logical way, thereby ensuring the research problem is effectively addressed. It constitutes the blueprint for the collection, measurement, and analysis of data. The research design that fits well with my ontological and epistemological perspectives would be a case study. Up-close or in-depth understanding of a single or small number of cases set in their real-world contexts. The aim is to produce a deep understanding, insight, and appreciation of the cases, which hopefully results in new learning about real-world behavior and its meaning. This approach excels at bringing us to an understanding of a complex issue through detailed contextual analysis of a limited number of events or conditions and their relationships. It is an empirical inquiry that investigates a contemporary phenomenon within its real-life context using multiple sources of evidence. A case study can be focused on a single person or a particular group. Case studies have been criticized as lacking scientific rigor, reliability, and generalizability issues. However, some strengths have been associated with this research design, such as its flexibility, the ease of accessibility and convenience in a scenario where a different design with sampling procedures could be difficult, and providing a holistic view of the phenomenon. Methods that could be used within a case study are observations, interviews, focus groups, documents, and artifacts analysis, among other possibilities. These methods would allow for me as the researcher to triangulate and understand the context of the participants' knowledge and why they believe what they do. A case study strategy provides data for building theory that contributes to existing knowledge by analysis from another perspective using the self as a research instrument. As a scholar in training and doctoral student, it is paramount that I understand my ontology, epistemology, how I design my research, and how the data is gathered, analyzed, and interpreted. I must also take into account how other people do not have the same ontological and epistemological views as myself and have to respect their viewpoints. I should not put myself in a position where I place my value above others. My overall approach to the research needs to be careful and purposeful. I need to be reflective, understand my subjectivities, and consistently check myself and my views and ensure they are not influencing the way I conduct research and interact with the research process. Through triangulation with different forms of data collection, I hope to be reflective, patient, and willing to see other views and willing to accept the validity of my research, even if they conflict with my own. My overall understanding of theory and methodology needs to be broadened and deepened. Right now, concepts and ideas seem to run together, and it is easy to get lost and/or confused. With more training and experiences, this problem should be minimized to some degree, and I will become more confident as a researcher and more trusting of myself and my processes. Thank you.